Hello everybody, welcome to another video. This is going to be another part to my Microtonality series. Let's find that notes app. Let's go notes. I've got a new notes already ready. So this is going to be this video slash screen broadcast, I'm going to be talking about 24 intervals. Actually, no, let's write 24 EDO. That's probably a bit more sensible. So 24 EDO intervals. So let's first ask ourselves the big question. What is EDO? EDO stands for equally divided octave, or equal divisions of the octave. It's the most common way to write these I've found on Zen Harmonic Wiki, so that's why I use it. So let's start off with the intervals and their cent sizes. Remember, one octave is 1200 cents. The cent is logarithmic. So to figure out how many equal divisions of the octave, like how many cents in each division of the octave, you just divide the full octave, 1200 cents, by the number of equal divisions, in this case 24, to get 50. So let's get started. So first up is perfect unison, abbreviated P1. This interval exists in all EDOs, and an approximate ratio is an exact ratio, I should say, is 1 to 1. The next interval, very dissonant interval. Yes, I've played it before. I think I'm going to start doing what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually use this for sum minor. So, next interval is the sum minor second. Could also be called an augmented unison if you want. Let's use this for augmented, I guess. So sum minor second, augmented unison. That would be one step of 24 EDO, which is 50 cents. And let's see, any approximate ratio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mediate certain ratio. Actually, no need for that. 50 divided by 1200 times log 2, 10 to the power of that. So our approximate ratios as a decimal value is 1.029302237. Let's see what happens if we do 1.029. That would be 1029 to 1000, which is not great. You will get me. But let's try 1.0293. Try that ratio. Gets at 10,293 10,000. Yeah, not a good one to use either. So I guess I could try 1.028 here. Or maybe, yeah, 257, 250 might actually work. It's a bit of a complicated ratio. Maybe we should try 258, 250, which simplifies down to 129, 125. Let's try that one. Nah, too sharp. Guess we should mediate then. That means adding the two ratios together. So it looks like we have 386, 375 as our medians here. And that works. So let's try it. 386 to 375. Isn't that neat now? The next interval, just gonna use a regular blue for this, will be the minor second. You already know this one. Probably from 12 EDO, 100 cents. And approximate ratios are, I'll give two approximate ratios that come very close. 18 to 17. Or, see if I can get something even closer. see what happens here. 1.05, 1.06 might actually work. Yeah, 5350 might be a good ratio too. Yeah, 5350 is very close also. So we got two approximate ratios for the minor second. Now for the neutral second. Oh yeah, I just thought of a new name for some minor second that you could use. You could also call it diminished second, which I think is preferable to some minor. Just that, you know, it is just my preference. Dim second. So the neutral second. That one is 150 cents. And let's see. Any good approximate ratios? Well, 1.0905 might work. I mean, 1.09 might make the cut. 109 to 100 maybe. Yeah, 109, 100 seems to make the cut here. So that's your neutral second. Interesting thing, one step of 8 EDO is the same thing as neutral second. Figured I'd just put that in parentheses there. Next up, the major second. So the major second is 200 cents. The most commonly used approximate ratio is 9 to 8, so that's what I'm going to use here. Let me just scroll down a bit. Next up, I prefer to use augmented and diminished as opposed to sub minor and super major. Although I will make an exception when it comes to the tritone. But ready? So let's draw a figure back on. So now for the augmented second or diminished third. I'm calling it that because a minor third is slightly, a minor third is slightly sharper than this, and a major second is slightly flatter than this. So the ratio is 250 cents. Very, very close to a step of 5 EDO, but not quite. One step of 5 EDO is 240 cents. Ready? We have a ratio of about 1.155. 231 to 200 seems to be a pretty good ratio here. Yep, 231 to 200 seems to work. May as well use that one. Next up is a minor third. This one's equivalent to 300 cents. And the most commonly used approximation is 6 to 5, but that's way off. So instead of that, why say we use 1916? Also, a minor third is a step of 4 EDO, but I'm not going to mention that in the note that I'm doing here. Now, next up, the neutral third. That one is equivalent to 350 cents. And you know what's interesting? So in Arabic traditional music in general, specifically Turkish, Egyptian, Persian music, there's a system of scales called makam, or makamat in the plural. And one makam, known as makam rust, uses a neutral third. That's when I first learned about it. And let's see, I'm pretty sure a good ratio for that one is 11 to 9, but it's worth the check. Yeah, it's about 2.5 cents off, so it's alright. So 11 to 9 is a good ratio. Let's see, is there anything else good? Maybe 13 to 11. Nah, that's a minor third. So. Okay, it looks like 27-22 might be a good one as well. Let's check it. Yeah, not the best though, so maybe we should try 38-31 then. Yeah, 38-31 is good as well. Then next up is the major third. So the major third in 12 Ito anyway, and in 24 Ito is 400 cents. The most common approximation given is 5 to 4, but being that that is quite far off as well. And 8164 doesn't really match it either, as a matter of fact. Actually, no, never mind. I'm going to use 8164 as my approximation here because that is somewhat close. And then we could try mediating the two. We could also try 4334, which actually works somewhat well, but we're not going to use that one. We could also try 2419. Let's see. Not quite. They don't do it either. 2923 maybe. Yeah, 2923 is actually pretty good, so I'm going to get rid of this 8164. So I could write in 2923. Next up is what you could call a minor fourth. Yes, I know that doesn't exist in 12 tet, or 12 Ito, if you will, if you prefer. But we're talking 24 Ito here, so minor fourth. That could also be known as an augmented third. Although I think I prefer the name minor fourth. 450 cents is a cent value, and 13 to 10 is a good approximation for it. Next up is the perfect fourth, which stays the same, 500 cents. And it has a 4-to-3 ratio. Next up is what I'm going to call the major fourth. Which is 550 cents. A stunningly good ratio for this one is 11-to-8. Next up is the augmented fourth or diminished fifth, also known as a tritone. But when I'm dealing with Itos other than 12, I don't like using the tritone name. I just like to use like augmented and diminished, major and minor. Like that's why I like it. And that is 600 cents, and a pretty darn good approximation of that will be 1712. Like if you mind, I'll just double check that. Yeah, 603 cents is 1712. Yeah, 603.004086. So pretty good. Next up is the minor fifth. That one is 650 cents. And now that we are past the tritone, I guess you could just use the inverse ratios, 1611. Next up, perfect fifth. At 700 cents, 3-to-2 is a great ratio for it. Next up is the major fifth, or diminished sixth. $750. We could use the inverse ratio again, 20-13. Now we're going to go on to the minor sixth. Oh, shuck, I forgot to turn it off, figure back on. There we go. So now we get the minor sixth. 800 cents. What's the ratio I used there? Let me just double check which ratio I used for the major third. So for the major third, I used 29-23. So here, 46-29 should do the job. So now we have a 46-29 ratio for the minor sixth. Now for the neutral sixth. Hold on. And now for the neutral sixth. That one is 850 cents. And the ratio I'm going to use for it, 18 to 11. Next up, major sixth. Same as the minor third, 900 cents. And we're going to use 32.19. Now for the augmented sixth or diminished seventh, also known as a super major sixth or sub minor seventh. I prefer this naming scheme. Augmented, diminished, I prefer those. Don't know why I just did that. Let me actually erase that. So, augmented sixth, diminished seventh. That would be 950 cents. What did we say the good ratio was last time? So we said, for this one, we said so we're going to do 400 to 231. I know that's a bit of a messy ratio, but that's what I have. Next up, minor seventh. At 1,000 cents. It has a ratio of 16 to 9. It's a close one. Now for the neutral seventh of 1,050 cents. We have an approximate ratio of, hey, why didn't I think of this last time? 12:11. Yep, 12 to 11 was the other one. So we're going to use 11 to 6. And now for the major seventh. That one would be 1,100 cents. And that one has an approximate ratio of 17 to 9. Now, last but not least, augmented seventh, diminished octave. Oh, it's not really the last one. We're going to have one more after this. Just to make sure that we complete the whole thing. Diminished octave. That one will be 1,150 cents. And that one, I guess we're just going to use one of the other ratios that we could have picked out. We're going to use 64:33 for this one. And last but not least, perfect octave. 1,200 cents. And it has a 2-to-1 ratio. So just to summarize, I'll just run through the list real quick. You have the perfect unison, diminished second, minor second, neutral second, major second, augmented second, minor third, neutral third, major third, minor fourth, perfect fourth, major fourth, augmented fourth, minor fifth, perfect fifth, major fifth, minor sixth, neutral sixth, major sixth, augmented sixth, minor seventh, neutral seventh, major seventh, augmented seventh, perfect octave. And the, let me just get rid of this 1 of 8 thing real quick. So you have the values are 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 700, 750, 800, 850, 900, 950, 1,000, 1050, 1,100, 1,150, 1,200. And here are the approximate ratios. I'm not going to run through all of them now. So I'm just going to scroll down. And some interesting things. In 24 Edo, you typically would use half flats and half sharps on most notes. But for, let's see, but if you're in the key of C, for example, we're assuming you're in the key of C, or any other key for that matter. The minor fourth augmented third, since it's known as that, the minor fourth augmented third is one of the 2 intervals that I think are special. Let's pick out the highlighter. I'm gonna highlight in. I'm gonna have to pick a different highlight color here. See this highlight color. Hope this works. And hope it works. So this minor fourth slash augmented third. It's interesting because it could be E sharp or it could be F flat. It doesn't have to be E half sharp or F half flat. It actually makes a distinction between E and F flat, or between F and E sharp. The other such interval that does that is the augmented seventh or diminished octave. It distinguishes between B and C flat, or between C and B sharp. So that's it for this screen broadcast. I hope you all have a great day. And we'll catch you in the very next video. And Mashiach now.